The research station on Epsilon Gamma was quiet. Too quiet. Hannah Park stood near the large viewing window, her fingers tracing the edge of her datapad. Outside, the alien landscape stretched like a broken painting, rocky ground the color of rust, with jagged mountains cutting into a pale green sky. She heard them before she saw them. The soft hum of anti-gravity generators, the click of multiple joints moving in perfect sync. The Carroll delegation was arriving. Hannah took a deep breath. This was not her first alien encounter, but it was definitely her most important one. She had fought hard to get this assignment, the first human research specialist on this remote outpost. Many people back home had told her she was crazy. Many aliens had told her she was unqualified. The doors slid open with a smooth whisper. Deho entered first. He was tall, almost 3 meters high, with skin that looked like stretched glass. His body moved in a way that was both fluid and mechanical. Behind him, 3 other Carroll researchers followed, their multi-jointed limbs moving in perfect harmony. Deho's eyes, if you could call them eyes, were large crystal-like structures that seemed to change color with every movement. They fixed on Hannah with a look that was part curiosity, part dismissal. "You are the human specialist." Deho's voice came through the translation device. It sounded like wind moving through hollow pipes, musical, but cold. Hannah stood her ground. "I am Dr. Hannah Park, lead geological researcher for this sector." One of the other Carroll researchers, a smaller one with blue-tinted skin, made a sound that might have been a laugh. It sounded like breaking glass. A human, researching this complex geological system. The blue-tinted Carroll turned to Deho. "Are we truly so desperate?" Hannah knew what they were thinking. Humans were new to the galactic community, barely 100 years since first contact. Compared to the Carroll, who had been exploring space for thousands of years, humans were children, primitive, unprepared. But Hannah was not like most humans. She had grown up hearing those words. Primitive, unprepared, unqualified. And each time, she had proven everyone wrong. Deho stepped closer. His crystal-like eyes scanned her from head to toe. "Your file is interesting. Top of your class. Multiple breakthrough papers. But still," he paused, "you are human." The statement hung in the air like a challenge. Hannah met his gaze. No fear, no anger, just pure, calm confidence. "I'm here to work," she said simply. "This planet has secrets. My job is to find them." The Carroll researchers exchanged glances. Something about her tone, flat, matter-of-fact, made them uncomfortable. Humans were supposed to be emotional, reactive. This woman was different. Deho's skin shifted color, from transparent to a light amber, a sign of internal calculation among his species. "We will see," he said finally. "We will see what a human can do in a place like Epsilon Gamma." Little did they know, Hannah Park was about to show them exactly what a human could do. Asterisk to be continued. Asterisk. The research station hummed with quiet activity. Screens flickered. Machines beeped. Hannah Park sat alone in the geological analysis lab, her eyes fixed on a set of complex data streams. Something was wrong, but nobody else could see it. The Carroll researchers moved around her, confident in their centuries of planetary scanning technology. They believed they knew everything about Epsilon Gamma. Hannah knew better. Her fingers danced across the holographic display, reshaping data patterns that others had missed. Jin-Woo Kim, the station's senior technical assistant, watched her work. He was human, like her, but more cautious. "Be careful," he whispered. "The Carroll don't like it when outsiders challenge their research." Hannah didn't look up. "Data doesn't care about feelings," she muttered. She was rebuilding the planet's geological scan from scratch. The original Carroll survey was complete garbage, at least to her trained eye. Most researchers would have accepted the standard report. Most researchers weren't Hannah Park. Her first clue came from a tiny anomaly. a microscopic variation in mineral density that most scanning systems would ignore. But Hannah's custom algorithm caught it. She had developed the algorithm herself, combining machine learning with human intuition, something the Kirill considered impossible. The anomaly was deep, very deep, almost 10 kilometers beneath the planet's rocky surface. "Jinwoo," she called, "come look at this." He approached carefully. Years of working with alien researchers had taught him to be diplomatic. "What am I seeing?" Hannah zoomed the holographic display. Colors shifted. Layers of planetary crust became transparent. "See this mineral signature? It doesn't match anything in the standard galactic database." Jinwoo frowned. "That's impossible." "Not impossible," Hannah corrected, "just overlooked." The mineral formation was strange. It seemed to pulse with a subtle energy signature. Not like anything they had seen before. It was almost alive, but not quite. Something in between organic and inorganic matter. Daeho appeared in the lab doorway. His crystal-like eyes narrowed. "What are you doing?" Hannah didn't flinch, reviewing the planetary scan. "Our scan is complete and accurate," Daeho said. His tone was flat. "Certain?" "No," Hannah responded. "It's not." The lab went silent. The other Kirill researchers stopped working. Nobody spoke to a senior researcher like that, especially not a human. Daeho moved closer. His skin changed color, from transparent to a deep purple, a sign of anger among his species. "Explain." Hannah pulled up her findings. Complex graphs, detailed mineral analysis, mathematical projections that showed clear evidence of her discovery. "This material," she said, pointing to a pulsing section of the holographic display, "could be the most significant geological discovery in 100 years. Jinwoo looked nervous. The Kirill researchers looked angry. Daeho looked confused. But Hannah Park just smiled. She knew she was right. And soon, everyone else would know it too. Asterisk to be continued. Asterisk. The lab became a battlefield of ideas. Hannah's computer screens filled with complex diagrams and rapidly changing data patterns. Around her, the Kirill researchers watched with a mix of anger and confusion. "This is impossible," muttered Kira, the blue-skinned Kirill researcher who had laughed at Hannah during her first day. Her long fingers tapped nervously on a nearby console. Hannah didn't respond. She was busy. Her hands moved quickly over the holographic interface, changing code, rewriting algorithms, breaking down and rebuilding complex systems faster than anyone thought possible. The station's main computer system was old. Built by the Kirill decades ago, it was considered top-of-the-line technology. But Hannah saw it differently. She saw a system full of holes, slow connections, inefficient pathways. Jinwoo watched her work. "What are you doing?" he asked. "Fixing things," Hannah replied simply. The Kirill's computer systems followed strict, rigid rules. They were logical, precise, predictable. Human technology was different. Messy, adaptive, creative. Hannah's fingers flew across the interface. She wasn't just reading the code, she was rewriting it, changing how the entire system processed information. The Kirill scanning algorithms were like a straight road. Hannah was building a network of interconnected paths. Daeho approached, his crystal-like eyes narrowing. "What are you doing to our systems?" Hannah looked up. "Improving them." The word hung in the air like a challenge. She pulled up 2 sets of data, the original Kirill scan and her modified version. The difference was shocking. The original scan showed basic planetary information, rocks, mineral deposits, temperature, basic stuff. Her new scan showed something else entirely. Complex energy networks, hidden mineral structures, potential energy sources that the original scan had completely missed. "Look," she said, pointing to the screen. The Kirill researchers leaned closer. Even Daeho couldn't hide his surprise. Her modifications increased the scanning efficiency by 287%. Not a small improvement. a massive leap forward. How? Kira asked. Her voice was different now. No longer mocking. Now genuinely curious. Human algorithms, Hannah said. We think differently. The Chiral computer systems were like a perfect machine. Everything in its right place. No room for unexpected solutions. Human technology was different. Messy. Chaotic. Adaptable. Jinwoo smiled. He knew what was happening. The Chiral were learning something important about humans. Humans weren't just another species in the galaxy. They were something else entirely. Daho's skin changed color, from transparent to a deep blue, a sign of deep thinking among his species. Explain, he said. Hana began to talk. About adaptive algorithms, about creative problem solving, about thinking beyond established rules. The Chiral researchers listened. For the first time, they were truly listening to a human. The alarm came without warning. Red lights flashed across the research station. Loud beeping filled every room. Hannah's head snapped up from her work, her eyes immediately scanning the main display. A solar storm was coming. But this was no ordinary solar storm. The energy readings were unlike anything the station had ever seen. Massive, powerful, destructive. Daho rushed into the main control room, his crystal skin shifting to a pale, almost transparent color. Fear. How long? He demanded. Jinwoo checked the scanners. His face went white. 37 minutes. Maybe less. The Chiral researchers moved quickly. But their movements were mechanical, programmed, predictable. Hannah could see the fear in their movements. The solar storm hit like a hammer. Massive waves of energy crashed against the research station. Radiation that could melt steel. Electromagnetic pulses strong enough to destroy entire computer systems. Death moved in waves of burning light. Inside the control room, everyone held their breath. Hannah stood perfectly still. Her hands remained on the computer interface. Not moving. Not panicking. Just watching. The Chiral researchers expected destruction. They had seen solar storms before. No shield could survive this kind of assault. No technology could protect them. But this was not an ordinary shield. The station's defensive system began to change. It wasn't blocking the solar storm. It was absorbing it. Waves of burning energy crashed against the shield. Each wave was different. Powerful. Destructive. The shield changed with every impact. Learning. Adapting. Growing stronger. Daho watched in shock. His crystal skin shifted through multiple colors, a sign of extreme emotional response among his species. This is impossible, he whispered. Jinwoo smiled. He knew Hana better than anyone. The shield began to glow. Not a steady glow. Not a normal glow. This was alive. Pulsing. Changing. The energy of the solar storm was being transformed. Kira, the blue-skinned Chiral researcher, stepped forward. What is happening? Hannah didn't answer. She was focused. Outside the station, something incredible was occurring. The shield looked like fire. Electromagnetic pulses danced around the station. Brilliant colors. Reds. Blues. Purples. The energy of the solar storm was being captured. Redirected. 10 minutes passed. 20 minutes. The solar storm continued its assault. The station's shield grew stronger with each passing moment. Daho could not believe his eyes. The human shield was not just protecting the station. It was using the storm's energy, converting it, transforming it. Impossible. 30 minutes. The solar storm began to weaken. 40 minutes. The storm was dying. 50 minutes. Silence. The shield continued to pulse. Alive. Breathing. Powerful. Hannah finally looked up. Her eyes were calm. Focused. The Chiral researchers stared in total silence. Daho's skin had turned completely white, a color of pure shock among his species. How? He asked. Hannah smiled. Just a small smile. But it said everything. Humans, she said simply. We adapt. The station's computers began to process the incredible data. The shield had not just protected them. It had captured over 73% of the solar storm's energy. Energy that could power the entire station for months, maybe years. Jinwoo walked to Hana. Impressive, he said quietly. The Kirill researchers said nothing. They just stared. Something had changed. Forever. Asterisk to be continued. Asterisk. The silence was louder than any sound. Hana stood in the main control room. Around her, the Kirill researchers moved like ghosts. Confused. Shocked. Their entire understanding of technology had just been destroyed. Daho was the first to speak. His crystal skin had not changed color for hours. A sign of deep thinking among his species. Explain, he said. Just one word. But it carried so much weight. Hana turned to the main display. Data streams flowed across the screen. Complex. Beautiful. Alive. The shield was more than protection, she began. It was a living system. Jinwoo stepped closer. He understood what she meant. The other Kirill researchers did not. She pulled up a complex diagram, showed how the shield had not just blocked the solar storm. It had eaten the storm, absorbed it, transformed it. Our technology is different, Hana continued. We don't just defend. We learn. We grow. The captured energy from the solar storm sat in the station's power banks. Enough energy to run the entire research station for months, maybe longer. Kira, the blue-skinned Kirill researcher, finally found her voice. How? She asked. Hana pointed to the screen, showed them how she had used the unique mineral deposit she had discovered, how she had combined it with adaptive computer algorithms, how human creativity worked differently from Kirill logic. The Kirill researchers leaned closer, watching, learning. Outside, the alien landscape of Epsilon Gamma remained unchanged. Rocky ground, pale green sky, but everything had changed inside the research station. Daho moved closer to Hana. You are not what we expected, he said. Hana smiled, just a small smile. Nobody ever is, she replied. The station's computers continued to process data. The solar storm information would change everything. Galactic research would never be the same. Jinwoo watched the other researchers. He could see the change happening. Slowly, surely. The Kirill had always believed they knew everything, that their technology was perfect. Now they were learning something different. Humans were not just another species in the galaxy. Humans were something else entirely. Kira began to ask questions, complex questions, about the shield, about the algorithms, about how Hana had done the impossible. Hana answered each question, clearly, simply, no complex words, no showing off, just pure, simple explanation. The research station hummed with new energy. The captured solar storm power pulsed through the systems. Everything felt different. Daho looked at Hana, really looked at her. We have much to learn, he said. Hana nodded. We all do, she replied. Outside, the alien sky remained unchanged. But inside the station, a revolution was happening. Quiet, powerful, unstoppable. The Kirill were learning, and humans were teaching them. Asterisk to be continued. Asterisk. News travels fast in space. Faster than light. Faster than sound. The communication came 3 days after the solar storm. A high-priority transmission that lit up every screen in the research station. The Kirill Central Research Council wanted answers. Hana sat quietly. Daho stood beside her. Their relationship had changed. No longer was he the condescending alien leader. Now, he was something else. A colleague. Maybe even a friend. The transmission arrived with an official seal. Bright blue. Complicated symbols that meant nothing to humans but everything to the Kirill. Jinwoo watched the screen. His hands were tight. Nervous. The lead researcher of the Chiral Central Research Council appeared. Tall, serious. Her crystal skin was a deep purple, a color of extreme authority among her species. "Explain," she said. Hannah did not flinch. She began to speak. Clearly, simply. No complicated words. Just pure facts. She explained the mineral discovery, the unique planetary scan, the solar storm shield, how human technology worked differently, how adaptation was the key to survival. The lead researcher listened. Her skin changed colors. Fast, quick shifts that showed deep emotion. Kira stood nearby. She had become Hannah's strongest supporter. The blue-skinned researcher who once laughed at humans now defended them. "This is not just a breakthrough," Kira said. "This is a revolution." The transmission continued. Hours of questions. Hours of explanation. Hannah remained calm, focused. Outside, Epsilon Gamma's rocky landscape remained unchanged. But everything was different now. The Chiral Research Council had two choices: accept this new information, or reject it. Rejection would mean falling behind. Acceptance would mean changing everything they knew about technology, about survival, about other species in the galaxy. Deho watched Hannah. He had learned something important. Humans were not what they seemed. "We thought you were primitive," he said quietly. "We were wrong." Hannah smiled. Just a small smile. "We're always learning," she replied. The transmission ended. Silence filled the room. Jinwoo broke the silence. "What happens now?" he asked. Hannah looked at the screens. The data, the incredible discovery they had made. "Now," she said, "we change everything." The research station hummed with new energy. The captured solar storm power continued to pulse through the systems, a reminder of what was possible when you thought differently. The Chiral researchers looked at Hannah. No more mockery, no more dismissal. Now they looked with respect, with wonder. A human had shown them something important. Technology was not about perfection. It was about adaptation, about learning, about growing. The galactic message was clear. Humans were not just another species. They were something else entirely. Asterisk to be continued. Asterisk. Space is big, really big. But news travels faster than light. Within weeks, Hannah's discovery spread across multiple star systems, research stations, military outposts, scientific councils. Everyone was talking about the human who changed everything. The mineral Hannah had discovered was more than just a scientific curiosity. It was a game changer. Imagine a material that could absorb energy, not just block it, not just store it, but transform it completely. Power stations could be built differently. Starships could travel further. Entire planets could be protected. The Chiral Research Council began sharing the data, first with their closest allies, then with other species, then with everyone. Humans were no longer seen as the new kids in the galactic neighborhood. Daiho received messages from hundreds of research stations, each one asking the same questions. How did this happen? Who was this human? What else could humans do? Jinwoo watched the communications flow. He understood what was happening. This was more than a scientific discovery. This was a shift in how the galaxy saw humanity. "They're going to want more," he told Hannah. She nodded. Her eyes were calm, focused. The unique mineral deposit they had discovered could change everything. Energy production, planetary shields, space travel. Nothing would be the same. Other alien species began to look at humans differently. No more jokes about primitive technology. No more dismissive comments. Respect. The Chiral were the first to fully understand, but they would not be the last. Research teams from 3 different star systems requested Hannah's full report. Her complete data, her research methods. Kira helped process the requests. The blue-skinned researcher who once laughed at humans now defended them, promoted them, believed in them. "Humans are different," she told her colleagues. "They don't just solve problems. They reimagine solutions." The research station on Epsilon Gamma became a pilgrimage site. Scientists from across the galaxy wanted to see where it happened, where everything changed. Deho gave tours. He spoke about Hana, about her discovery, about how humans thought differently. "We looked at a planet," he would say. "She saw a universe of possibilities." Hana remained humble. She continued her research, continued learning, continued pushing boundaries. The captured solar storm energy powered entire research sections, a constant reminder of what was possible when you thought differently. Planetary defense systems began to change. Energy production shifted. Space exploration took new paths. All because one human looked at a problem differently. Jinwoo watched Hana work. "We're going to change everything," he said. She smiled. Just a small smile. "We already have," she replied. The alien landscape of Epsilon Gamma remained unchanged. Rocky ground, pale green sky. But everything had changed. Humans were no longer just another species in the galaxy. They were something else entirely. Asterisk to be continued. Asterisk. 1 year later, Hana stood at the window of the new research center, not on Epsilon Gamma, not on any single planet. This was a space station, a massive research hub built from the technology she had discovered. The station was different, alive, changing, growing. Deho approached her. His crystal skin now had a permanent golden tint, a color of respect among his species. He was no longer just a lead researcher. He was a partner, a friend. "We never expected this," he said. Hana looked out at the stars. Countless points of light, endless possibilities. The mineral she had discovered had changed everything. Energy systems, planetary shields, space travel. Nothing was the same anymore. Research teams from hundreds of different species now worked together. Humans were no longer seen as newcomers. They were leaders, innovators. Jinwoo walked in. He carried a datapad. More research, more discoveries. "The new planetary shield design is ready," he said. Kira followed him. The blue-skinned Kirill researcher who had once laughed at humans now led the most important research team in the galaxy. The station hummed with energy, not just electrical energy, something else, something alive. Hana remembered her first day on Epsilon Gamma. The Kirill researchers who had looked down on her, called her primitive, thought she was nothing. Now everything was different. "We're still learning," Hana said quietly. Deho nodded. "That's the point," he replied. The research station was more than a building, more than a scientific center. It was a symbol of what could happen when species worked together, when they listened to each other, when they remained open to new ideas. Jinwoo showed the new planetary shield designs. Complex, beautiful, adaptive. "Each design is different," he explained. "No two are the same, because no two problems are the same." That was the human way. Adaptability, creativity, thinking beyond established rules. The Kirill had perfected their technology. Humans had learned to reimagine technology. Outside the station's window, a massive starship moved past, powered by the energy system Hana had helped develop, protected by shields inspired by her work. Kira looked at Hana. "We were wrong about humans," she said. Hana smiled. Just a small smile. "We're all learning," she replied. The station continued to pulse with energy. The captured solar storm power from Epsilon Gamma still ran through its systems, a constant reminder of what was possible. Humans had shown the galaxy something important. Technology was not about perfection. It was about adaptation, about learning, about growing. They were not primitive. They were something else entirely. A new beginning. Asterisk. End of story. Asterisk.